I'm Lael. I'm the founder of Venue EDU, and today we're at Fiber, the venue, and we have a really special guest. I will go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Pam Marcheski, and I am the owner of an executive coaching and business firm that does a lot of entrepreneurial business coach for executives and organizations. I do leadership and I do mindfulness teaching.
So, mindfulness, like what does that entail?
You know, it's not complicated, but it sounds kind of, I don't know, right, woo-woo?
Yeah,
so
we like woo-woo.
Yeah, woo-woo. But I tell people, it's the difference between being reactive and responsive. So I help people create space with different things that come up in their life, or when they're in a stressful situation or they're feeling a big emotion, how to slow down and make better decisions, either for themselves or people that they lead. It also allows you to just start noticing things and think through things, be more strategic.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot with communication.
Mm-hmm.
Today's day and age with so much information coming at us. So I try to bring a mindful approach into how much information do you take in. I think like with your audience here, when you're taking on a new business or you're trying to do your own thing, you can take on too much information sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
The internet offers you everything. Everybody has lots of opinions. So how to slow down and create more space for yourself.
I love that. So in yoga, we talk about mindfulness and the space between, like you said, the reaction and the response, and in between that is present, and that's when you have that moment to pause and really think. So that's amazing that you work with executives, right?
I do.
Some pretty amazing people.
I do. I've worked with and love the fact that they're receptive to it,
Mm-hmm.
and helping them get grounded. And the program that I'm certified in is through UCSD.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really is not just about mindfulness, but we take it to the next level of how to perform at a higher level.
Mm-hmm.
So they work with the leader of the program. He does an amazing job working with military and border patrol, and I work with TSA. So a lot of stressful situations where we can help and support. And then I worked with a lot of people my old world was in retail, so I work with a lot of retail executives.
Yeah, so you have a pretty interesting background. Would you like to share just a little bit how you got into this, or?
Yeah, I grew up in retail. I started as a fitting room clerk, and found myself when I was in college, and then I found myself a single mom when my son was 4, and I was really happy just getting a job where I could pay the bills and be the department manager. But I had an amazing mentor, store manager, who saw something and said, nah, there's more to do. And I was gonna go to law school, but circumstances were feed your child, make sure he can go to school, and I got this opportunity to keep progressing in my career. So we moved a lot. We lived a lot of different places, Alaska, Montana, all over Washington, all over California, and just got to progress my career and took every opportunity that was offered to me. And that was probably one of the biggest things, was just being okay with doing it and saying, what's the worst that could happen? Mm-hmm. So I remember getting my son on the plane to go to Alaska, and so we have 2 weeks to figure out where to live. And we don't know, Odie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the worst? We'll come back to the lower 48. So it turned out. So I just progressed in my career there and did various districts. And then I left as the vice president for JCPenney's, the Northwest region. So I had a huge territory there. Got to travel every Monday, come home on Fridays. And really, I think, got to the point of, I was tired of that I was doing that. Retail was transitioning so much, and truly fell into mindfulness because of those last 2 years. I had 2 phones, 2 iPads, 2 computers. I was up getting texts at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had to find a better way to live. Mm-hmm. And so I started studying mindfulness, and they gradually worked in together as something that I could do for other people on my own.
I love that. So you went and you were in this executive position. Circumstances changed for you where you had to find mindfulness for yourself, for your own balance and kind of survival, and now you're using that to help other people. That's so great.
Yeah.
Something you said that really sticks out to me is talking about taking opportunities. and like 2 weeks of having to do something, you know, so there's that, I don't know, there's some video, one of the motivational speakers where he talks about an opportunity is like standing at the edge of the cliff and you just have to jump and it's like believe that the net will come and it'll all work out. So it's such an amazing example of that. And it's so brave. And I think as an entrepreneur, you sometimes have to take that step without knowing what's coming next and just believing in your path. So that's really awesome.
We operate, and humans just operate on protection. Your brain is hardwired to protect. So it will resist anything that seems like a tiger's coming at you. Real tiger or not, it doesn't know any different. So when you know that, you can just tell yourself, you know, it's just you're just trying to be protected and let it know it's okay. You know, and I got this. So I think that's the one thing I try to remind people. And I'm going to tell people is the second thing that'll hold us back is worried, like, if we fail, how other people might judge. There's 7 billion people in the world. If 1 million don't like you or make fun of you, so what? There's a whole lot out there to go get.
So many more that might like you.
Right. So you have to keep it in perspective.
Yeah. You shared with Ashley, the owner of Fiber, you shared with us this little bookmark, and it had like a acronym or a
R.A.I.N?
Yes. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. I actually have one.
Yay.
You can hold it up. I should have one. So R.A.I.N. Here it is. R.A.I.N. We thought it would be cute to have an umbrella and all the emotions coming down and what's coming at you. So nervous, angry, anxious, happy, edgy, or sad. So R.A.I.N is an acronym, and it means recognize, allow, investigate, and non-identify. So recognize means just notice when it's happening. You know, if you're feeling anxious or you're driving down the street and you're feeling edgy in your car, but it's any time in your life when you're feeling a strong emotion. And it's actually good to use even in a happy moment too, because a lot of times we want things never to end if it's in a good moment, but allowing ourselves to space that this is happening. Allowing is, or A is allowing, right? Okay, I'm feeling it. So you can say, I have anger versus I am angry. It doesn't have to be you, right? So like a rainstorm, it's gonna end, but just allowing it to be there. I is investigate. And there's 2 parts of investigate. One, investigate, well, how does that show up in my body? You know, most of the time people don't even realize or take the time, like, I'm feeling it in my throat or my hands or I'm clammy, and we're just really getting interoceptive about where you're feeling it in your body. But also you can go a little deeper, like maybe it's not what immediately is happening, but maybe I didn't sleep well, or maybe it's just I'm not dealing with some other things. So a little investigation, that's your I. And then the N is the non-identify. And that's the hard part. That's the real doing. That's allowing yourself the space and the grace to say, it isn't me. I can have it, but it's not gonna forever, and it doesn't define who I am, and allowing yourself to let it go. And it's very freeing the more you practice it. It actually, you start to make fun of yourself a little bit. Now I laugh at myself when, you know, something comes on and it's like, how silly.
Right.
You know, the things that get to me now. So I use it all the time. All the time. And it can be a little bit of rain or really big rain.
Like a whole kind of storm.
It can be a whole kind of
storm.
When you're dealing with a tough situation, and you might have to sit with it longer. And then sometimes it might be as simple as, you know, I always say, like, it's from going from wanting to flip somebody off in a car and actually doing it. You don't actually have to do it.
Instead, you can laugh, have your moment, and then be like, wow, that was really dramatic and silly, and I'm a human. I have emotions, but I don't have to become that.
And they're not thinking anything of me. And, you know, just how you can just take that and make that not about you and the silliness of it. So it's a really powerful practice that you can use all the time. And in the beginning, when I work with people, I got it, R.A.I.N. Yes, but it really does become almost just automatic. When you start to notice things.
And I think that's really great, because as hairdressers, we're dealing with a lot of people, we're dealing with their emotions, we're dealing with their problems, we're dealing with their cousins' problems, you know, we're dealing with all of this, and it's sometimes a lot of energy for us to kind of field and navigate, and having something simple like that for us to just take a step back and just say, like, raining.
Yes.
What's happening? What am I feeling? And then, you know, going through the process and then realizing like, okay, that it's just a moment. It's not like a lifetime or, you know, whatever. And that's really awesome.
And not take it on. I mean, hairdressers still, people don't give enough credit to, the public can be hard.
Amen, sisters.
Hard. You know, I was in retail and my cashiers, I used to feel so bad for them sometimes. And I had to remind them, like, it's not personal, but it's going to feel personal.
Yeah.
And it hurts sometimes, and how to slow down. And I, you know, I try to work, that's why I try to work with managers today in recognizing what the frontline people do deal with. And then also with a hairdresser, you hear everything, you know, so you feel those emotions too. So allowing yourself that time is really important.
Yeah, it's very important. Totally right. So with that, what would your best advice be for entrepreneurs, women? You know, there are men hairdressers as well, but you know, a lot of us are women. We're independent. We're managing our clients. We're managing our books. Some of us are managing entire salons. What would your best advice to stay mindful and present while we have all this stuff, plus trying to market on social media? You know, we have a lot going on. So what would your best piece of advice be for us as entrepreneurs to stay in that mindful spot?
I have to work on this a lot.
Yeah. Well, we're human.
Yeah. I came from a world where a lot of stuff was just done for me in the corporate world, and now all of these things that, you know, getting your own clients and where do you market, and so it's a very similar space for me. I think for me to stay grounded, one of the things was it was okay for me to say what I could and couldn't do well, and where did I want to put my energy. So knowing that really helps you keep focus on the big things that are important. And then I had to be willing to ask for help. So, and if something was going to be costly, do I know somebody that could help me with it? But instead of me over efforting, and when you feel like you're pushing up against a wall over and over again, that's a sign of too much resistance. There's got to be a different pathway. You know,
find a door.
Yeah.
Find a window.
Yeah, or move away from that wall.
Yeah.
Right? So there's something there that you should recognize. So whenever you're feeling if you're avoiding something or you're pushing hard on it, then that needs to be investigated. And that's what I always tell myself, like, this is coming up too much. So I think that's a really important part. Give yourself grace. You know, everything's always like, gotta get it done. Maybe, but ask yourself truly if that's, you know, is that true? A lot of times we have a list of 100 things, and when you look at it, maybe. We don't sit back and say, which ones will have the biggest impact for my business? And which ones am I doing because people tell me I should do it or I think I have to do it? A lot doesn't need to be done. And I am a big proponent of the phrase, make big small. So whenever something's big, I always say, how do we break it down?
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't, when you let it be overwhelming, it will be overwhelming. But take it down to the practical terms. What really has to be done, and what has to be done gets 100%. What should be done gets to get done next. But knowing and breaking it down will really help.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great advice. And I think it's really interesting, and I think one of our purposes here of bringing different types of entrepreneurs and executives even into our world is to kind of show that relation between hairdressers who often, I know I do this myself, we're just hairdressers, but when you are an independent hairdresser, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you are the CEO of your company. And so I think it's really important for us to see the relation that, you know, we're dealing with the same stresses and kind of working towards that business goal as an entrepreneur. And so I think it's really awesome for you to come here and share what you share with, you know, really amazing. I mean, some of the people you work with are very powerful entrepreneurs, right?
They are. They're amazing.
And so I think,
as are you.
Thank you. As are all of us. You know, we have a really great community of really amazing, passionate hairdressers, and I love your R.A.I.N acronym. I think we can all use that.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming and
I love
sharing
being
with us. And yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm happy to be here. And nobody is just anything, so.
Isn't that the truth?
Very powerful. Very powerful.
Well, in our words, the way we speak about ourselves is the way we show up,
Absolutely.
right? And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, we're not just hairdressers. We are entrepreneurs, and we are powerful and amazing.
Powerful. So.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.